Hi, and welcome back to ENTP Life. In today's video, we're going to be talking about recessions. Now, recessions is a scary word for most people who are in the business world because it's an overall contraction in business, and nobody wants that. But since I've been through a few of them, I'm going to take the time out to tell you how I think of recessions and maybe give you some advice as to how you can navigate recessions yourself. But before we get into that, I'm just going to ask you to hit that like button because YouTube is going to promote my video just a little bit more for the more likes that I have. So that's your way of being able to give back for the content that I'm delivering to you. Just hit the like button and it helps me out a lot. If you're not already a subscriber and you're interested in being alerted as to when I drop a new video, here at ENTP Life, we mostly talk about real estate, business development, and really anything else that I'm interested in at the time. But if you're interested in the content that we are delivering here on this channel, I highly recommend that you subscribe. Any comments will be answered. So if you have questions, comments, if you have your own experience with recessions and how the last recession, the Great Recession, affected you, I'd love to hear it because you may have a positive story or a negative story, and somebody else who's just kind of experiencing a recession for the first time in their professional life may be able to get some advice from you. So I'm definitely looking forward to some of your feedback right in the comment section below. So what is a recession? A recession is a retraction or a regression in economic growth, right? So that means that gross domestic product is down and that the country overall isn't producing as much. Money isn't moving around as much. We're not generating as much money from other countries. We're not generating as much money within. And the usual response to a recession is a tightening of everybody's budget. So businesses are going to lay off. They might stop investing in growth or development. So they may stop buying equipment. They may cut back on what they consider to be non-essential staff or whatever that is for that company. Households do exactly the same thing. They may cut their gym memberships. They may buy less electronics, which also affects all the businesses, right? Because they're expecting the consumer to use their discretionary money to buy the services or non-essential services, okay? And this is just the ebb and flow of all systems, right? What goes up must come down. What expands must contract, right? Think about breathing. You can't just take in a deep breath forever. If you do, your lungs are going to explode. That's not good for you. So you have to breathe in, take in that fresh oxygen, and then breathe out and let out all the waste. The tide comes in, the tide recedes. That's just the way that it is, okay? You can't expect business to just expand and the economy to just boom indefinitely. It just doesn't happen. It just defies the rules of nature, okay? And as Americans, we have this obsession with growth and this obsession with being the financial leaders. So whenever there's a pullback, it's always panic. Oh my God, what's happening now? And, panic is obviously a much stronger, or fear is a much stronger emotion than greed, believe it or not. And you see that in market crashes, right? Markets crash rapidly and aggressively and recover very slowly, okay? People are scared to put their feet back into the water. Now, how does this all affect you, right? If you're the business person and you're the investor or you're the head of your household, you need to understand that psychological component and the cyclical pattern of markets. Now, a bull market, which is a market that is experiencing growth, or when the stock market's going up and the economy is growing, a bull market cycle, historically speaking, over the past 100 years is anywhere from 4 to 7 years. We are now in a 10-year bull market, right? And that's a little bit on the unusual side. And recessions can be anywhere from 9 months to a year and a half to 2 years. So they sound bad, but they're actually the shorter time frames, okay? They're the big shakeout and things reset and start to climb back up again. And that's how it's been for the past 100 years within our country. So if you really look at it, it's like it's only the short period. It's only the nap, so to speak, right? You're up 16 hours a day, you sleep 8 hours. The recession is the reset, it's the nap. So why should you be taking advantage of this? Well, typically during recessions, everybody is scared to start putting money to work, right? They've lost money, they've seen values in their properties go down. They've seen their retirement accounts go down. So the natural reaction is to hold on to that money, clinch it. And that's really the worst thinking. What you should be doing in a recession is seeing how the market is changing, where money is moving to. Has one industry tapped out, but another industry is emerging? Okay. For example, the hard money lenders that I work with, asset-based lending, prior to the previous Great Recession, they were selling mortgage-backed securities, and they were in the business of generating and trading mortgages. When that industry collapsed, they got onto the other side of the transaction and said, you know what, we should be funding the people who are going to be buying these distressed homes and buying these distressed assets, and created a hard money mortgage bank, right? Because obviously there's going to be a shift. So when the recession is happening and you're seeing that this one area is what's the bane to the system, you might start to see, signs that the money is going somewhere else. What are the first things to recover, or what are the things that were not effective? It could be healthcare, right? You might notice that a lot of people in healthcare facilities didn't lose their jobs. Is money flowing into healthcare because it was able to sustain the cycle? So you're going to want to look for trends like that. Where is the money? Where are you seeing the greatest losses? Is it retail? Is retail really suffering? And if retail is suffering, maybe manufacturing is suffering too, and maybe shipping is suffering as well. But what industries aren't suffering? It could be commodities, it could be foods, it could be housing that's not suffering. So you're going to start to see people putting their money to work in areas that aren't suffering. So you should be able to look for that and adjust. And as we're going through that recession, I'll be willing to chop it up with you and show you where I think money is flowing to, right? When it was flowing out of real estate, a lot of money was flowing out of real estate and then started moving back into the stock market once the market bottomed out. And it didn't come back into real estate for about 3 or 4 years after the market recovered. So the stock market, that is, after the stock market recovered, from 2009 to like 2012, 13, the real estate market was pretty crappy, right? But there were people who were accumulating all these distressed assets. And you know who those people were? Those people were the ones that were the first to realize, hey, this is the top, right? We're at the top, or at the last phase of this boom. Maybe I should reap my profits. Maybe I should sell some of my assets, right at the top. Let me get myself into cash so that I don't suffer from the retraction, right? So if I have a house that's worth $1 million now, and because the economy changes, it's worth $800,000 next year, I could have tapped out at the top, and when it's back down to 800, buy that asset again and benefit from the next ride, right? So you're going to want to start to reallocate your money, not because you're scared, but because this might be the best time for you to harvest your returns, and then wait calmly for the dust to settle, and you could be one of the first people to buy the new bottoms, okay? You're not going to be out there trying to find the bottom, but you want to be one of the first people who starts to invest again when everybody else is still scared and trying to save every penny. You don't make money by saving money. You make money by investing the money that you've saved, okay? So if you weren't making the money and you didn't have the money in the first place, saving $100 here and there, it's not going to change anything, right? It may let you save up enough to participate in the very next cycle, but right now you should be looking at taking your money and sitting quietly and assessing where to put it to work. Now, how is this affecting me, right? I'm in the business of investing in real estate. I'm in the home healthcare industry, and I'm in the tech industry, right? Those are the three industries that I'm exposed to. And what I'm seeing is selling houses is taking a little bit longer, and that's why I really don't like to flip. I really like to hold them. So selling houses is taking a little bit longer, so I'm buying more rental grade properties. I'm buying properties that I know that when I rent them out, I'm going to cash flow. People pay their rent because they don't want to be homeless, okay? Nobody wants to live on the streets in New York City come January. No way. They're going to be paying their bills. They're going to be paying for that rent. Those same people who were thinking about buying a house Now that they see recession headlines, they're panicking. They're not going to want to spend their money. They're going to continue to rent. They're going to look for maybe better housing than where they're living. They're going to want that same change, but they're going to be doing it from a rentals perspective, in my opinion. So I'm really looking more to accumulate rentals. Now, in healthcare kind of stays flat. You might get like a reduction in their marketing spend because unfortunately healthcare companies are retarded. They don't think that marketing is an essential thing or advertising is an essential thing. So they might cut back in areas like that, but they don't really cut back on their workforce because they need that workforce to keep the machine going. Okay, it's directly related to the nurses need to be there, or the hospital doesn't exist. Tech, we might see a retraction in that, mainly in inflowing money, investor money, just because that's just what tends to happen. It doesn't mean that tech companies necessarily suffer. They actually do fairly well during recessions because they are allowing companies to maybe reduce their workforce or to streamline some of their systems with technology. So technology companies tend to do okay during recessions. The downside is they don't get as much investment, or they may not be able to get as many loans because banks stop to lend. All right. So for me, I'm really looking at just slowing down on the reselling of properties, refinancing a lot of my debt now. So if I have bad interest rates or if there's properties that I want to tap out some of my equity, I'm going to start accumulating more and more cash and being in transactions that I'm not above 70% of the market value. That way, if the market collapses and there's a 20% retraction, a 30% retraction in prices, I'm still not underwater, right? So if I'm getting my houses at a deep enough discount, even when there's a pullback, I don't feel like I've lost anything. I just lost this imaginary equity, right? It may affect my balance sheet, but that property is still spinning off cash. That property is still cash flow. I'm still making my money, right? And my tenants are still in there. Yeah, there might be a little increased risk of people falling behind on their rents because they lost a job, something like that. But most people do not want to be evicted. So that's ultimately the biggest thing that's changing in my strategy, is just trying to move myself to cash to prepare for the next wave. Now, if you need any help understanding where the market is going, I highly recommend that you study technical analysis in any industry. But if you study technical analysis in stocks, you can apply it to any graph, and you'll be able to start to understand what are the signs of a bottoming market, what are the signs of stabilization, what are the signs of correction, what are the signs of a rebound, and what is the sign of continuation. These are things that I may go into in future videos, how to analyze, a market from just a technical perspective. And actually, that's a really good idea for a video. I'm going to be doing that in the near future, just so you can see what those cycles look like. So when you're trying to position yourself for getting back into the market, whether it's stocks, real estate, tech, whatever your business or your trade is, you'll be able to look at the technicals of a chart and say, this is what the statistics are telling me, and this is what I should be doing, right? So I hope that helps you understand my approach. Now, do not be fearful. Do not, pump the brakes on everything that you're doing. Just be more cautious, right? Because that recession might hit us in the fourth quarter of this year. It might hit us into the new year. It might hit us after the election season. You really don't know what's going to happen. You just need to start being careful and saying, hey, am I going to start buying real estate, for more and more money, right? Here's an example, another way that I started to realize that things aren't looking right. My hard money lenders have always been conservative, right? Lending 65% loan to value or loan to future ARV. And they required that I used to have to put down 20%, right? And then just a few months back, they had like their lowest month of generating new loans. And then a few months later, they changed their loan terms to 10% down and up to 75% LTV. They're taking more risk trying to make more money. And you'll see the same thing happen with real estate investors, that the properties, the good quality REOs, the prices aren't that good. The prices are getting higher. And I'm looking at that like, that's not a good deal for me. I'm not going to buy up here. I won't make any money. Meanwhile, real estate agents are telling me, oh no, the market is good, the things are high. And I'm like, nah, man, the party's almost over because there's only a 15% spread here. There's nothing that's allowing me to deal with the long holding periods of a recession. If the prices come down, I'm finished. And that's what hurts people. And there's a lot of people who are getting into flipping. And I'm not trying to say this to discourage all the new people who are here, but there's a lot of people who are getting into flipping who are seeing that $45,000, $50,000 spread and thinking, oh man, that's good money for me. And the more experienced guys are going to be like, hell no, I'm not getting involved in that because I've been here before. So back in 07, 08, when the market came back in, the mindset was the same. There was a lot of people saying, I'm going to invest in real estate. There's a lot of people who are buying their first homes. Finally saved up enough money on the very lowest consumer level, the middle class level. I got enough money to get that new dream house. And then the rug got pulled out from under their feet. This is what always happens. I'm seeing credit card offers coming to my mailbox with greater frequency. I'm getting calls to borrow money. All of these things are reminiscent to me of the last economic pullback because now money is moving into the last, meaningless sector, which is the general public. And that's, to me, usually a sign that the end is close. So those people who are getting these new lines of credit, these new credit cards, who finally are getting approved for business loans, are starting to try to expand their business right when the market's going to collapse, and that's when they get hurt. Rather than saying, let me get savvier, let me take those loans, right? I'm going to take them, but I'm not going to have like this starry-eyed, outlook for the future because I want my reality to look better and ignore the fact that we've been going straight up for 10 years. Like you can't ignore that we've been going up for 10 years straight and think that because you're being active and you're investing in real estate now that the next 5 years are going to see the same growth that we've seen. That's not going to happen. You got to be even more careful now, looking for the best of the deals, being more prudent. Leave those deals to the amateurs, right? Because they're going to get hurt and you're going to be able to buy it from them cheap when they're tired of. They're going to be carrying that hard money loan every month, not being able to sell the property. They're going to just want to stop paying that bill. They're going to sell it to you for what they owe the hard money company because they can't pay the $2,000 a month out of their personal income. You get what I'm saying? So you got to start thinking in that way to prevent yourself from taking on too much risk and start thinking about how the amateur is going to, present some opportunities to you. Now, if you guys have any questions in any of the things that I've mentioned here, I know it's kind of scattered. I'm sorry about that. Just wanted to go out there and vent because I'm seeing all of these Instagram posts about the recession. Really, I just wanted to get some information out there to let you guys know not to worry and what to do and how to position yourself. Don't panic. Just be smarter. Be even more careful so that you don't get caught with your pants down, okay? So if any of you guys have any questions as to what I said regarding the technical analysis, even the ratios of how much you want to be into a real estate deal and what's dangerous, just let me know in the comment section below. I'll definitely answer your questions. And if you haven't already hit that subscription button, please hit the subscription button. Don't forget to like the video. And thank you for joining me here at ENTP Life. Take care.